The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And a Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 607. Mr. Somich.
607? Huzzah! Have you seen that thing? The 67 thing? No?
No.
Oh, man. I don't know what it means, but it's apparently very cool at my daughter's elementary school. So 6'7" is now a thing.
I know there's 6 foot, 7 foot, and there's a horse named 6 Hoof, 7 Hoof because Run Fast Racing has a couple of rappers signed on, and that's what they named the horse after.
Yeah. I think Shoddy knows. Shoddy knows. Shoddy knows. It's a thing. It's a thing. See? I don't know what thing it is. I'm not cool. I'm not a kid, but it's a thing.
You know, it's a thing. That's like 90% of it. Yeah, no, that's fine. Listen, I was expecting a big old Keeneland huzzah because Keeneland has kicked off already as we're doing this live on Friday morning on the West Coast. The first race is in the books, and you mentioned the horse was 8-5 as they loaded and won at 4-5. So. Yeah, people. I'm sure we'll hear about this on social media.
Definitely not going to be a thing today. That the fact that Keeneland doesn't have the cutoff for 2 minutes with CAWs, and so there's going to be drastic odds changes in the win pool late into it. Sure, that's not going to come up at all on Twitter.
Not that we've played it since it started, but the Dollar Sunset Pick 6, the last three at Gulfstream, the last three at Santa Anita. The first 2 days they had it last week, nobody hit. It carried over. I was actually so impressed that it hit on Sunday because you had Imagination winning the San Diego Sprint Championship, and I was like, nobody would have thought that horse was a Breeders' Cup Sprint contender before the race. Enough people had it on the tickets, but the point I bring up is that race or that sequence rather is not available for the computer assisted wagering, the CAW. So a big sign, like you had a huge carryover into that sequence on day number 3 because the first 2 days without the CAWs, you were able to make a lot of money on Sunday if you connected. So I don't think that Keeneland will be in this business of allowing CAWs up to the last second for very long.
No, I would be surprised if it lasts more than a week. I mean, the outrage after this weekend is going to be well heard, and they generally like to try and. I mean, I'm surprised that I didn't do it before the meet, but we'll see what happens here because Keeneland generally is pretty forward thinking about this stuff, but clearly just choosing not to be in this case. So we'll see. Hopefully, they make the adjustment sooner rather than later, and then we don't have to talk about it, worried about it, or hear about it because. It is what it is. I was surprised that we only got 15,000 on the carryover the first day in the Sunset Six. I thought that would be a more popular wager than the amount of money that was bet into it the first day. And so I wanted to kind of keep an eye on it because you have to think about your ticket size if the pool is 15K, right? Like you cannot play too big of a ticket because there's way too big of a chance that you lose money. Also, you don't want to go too crazy because the scoop is worth $15,000, which is awesome. Not knocking $15,000, but at the same time, probably should pay more than that if you're going to scoop for that level of a pick 6 pool. So one of those pools I want to keep an eye on, see if we get more action today than we did last week, and kind of see where it is before I start attacking it because I want to understand. I mean, I played it obviously Saturday and Sunday because of the carryovers, but I want to keep an eye on where we are from a daily bet perspective when there is not a carryover.
And I would venture to guess that, people were a little hesitant to dive in. It's also a Friday. This wasn't like they debuted it on a Saturday when a lot of people are going to be firing. It was a Friday, kind of a soft opening, as, lots of restaurants have that. But, yeah, I'm curious. I hope it does well. I mean, anytime that you have a bet that's going to have low takeout, full payout, or full carryover, no in between, and you're shutting off the computer systems, I think that's a great sign. Hi to CSJ in there. It's great to see you as well. Michael Olsen, hey, I am getting a lot of people asking me if I know who's going to be Turf Paradise's new track announcer because Craig Braddock has retired. So I would love to know, you don't have to post it publicly. I would love to know privately. Do you have a lead? Because I would love to know who's going to be Turf Paradise's or who's even considered because I'm getting inundated with those questions. Somehow people think I'm the Turf Paradise whisperer.
Well, is that your roundabout way for trying to throw your hat in the ring here?
No.
Am I going to lose you to Turf Paradise?
No. I would like it to be someone fun. Nathan Klein, I think he's 21, 22. He's young. He's part of our Discord family. And thank you. And he's been moonlighting across the country when he's not in college.
I'm in.
Paco.
I'm in for Paco Lopez being the announcer.
Oh. Anyways, I hope it's Nathan Klein. I would love to see him get changed. He's a University of Arizona racetrack industry program student. He was moonlighting all summer. He was interning at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. He would go. This dude would, I like, not to make this all about Nathan, but I love the fact that he would go to Horseshoe Indy, intern. He'd get to call a couple races during the day. They'd usually give him one thoroughbred and one quarter horse because there's a couple quarter horses at the end of their cards every day at Horseshoe. And then he would go to Hoosier Park and then call a couple harness races. I'm like, this dude's hitting the trifecta in terms of the different breeds that he can rattle. I mean, they don't have Arabians, but that's the only thing he was missing now.
The old Dilly Double at Saratoga. You go to the flat track in the afternoon, you head over to the harness track at night. It was something my family used to do quite a bit, because we're DGen. So, but yeah, that was the Daily Double in Saratoga when you hit up the thoroughbreds and then the harness racing.
So right before we were going to go live, I apologize for being a few minutes late. It's my fault because I didn't realize that the last 5 races are not the late pick 5 at Keeneland. They went full Tampa Bay Downs on us, and it made me a little angry, but that's okay. It's actually going to be an all stakes late pick 5. It's races 6 through 10. The 11th is like a bonus race, I guess. But it is all graded stakes, 3 of the 5 on turf. And again, thank you, Mike, for pointing that out to me because I was like, I was looking at our tickets that we put in, at the end of the show, it's at the bottom of the program. I was like, we're never this far apart. How are you singling that horse at 12-1? And you went, Magic, it's races 6 through 10.
It makes a difference. Definitely makes a difference if you have the right races or not. So, but yeah, it was, I can't take too much credit. I mean, I checked it, 9:45 Pacific. I'm like, oh, the pick 5 is not the late pick 5. It is the all stakes pick 5 that we are covering. So yeah, we will jump into that. Fun sequence, couple tough turf races, couple dirt races that I don't think are as difficult. So not an expensive ticket for me. I got to say, Magic, I'm pissed about last week. I mean, it's back-to-back weeks where we're all over the right horses, and it just kind of goes the wrong way. Anyone who had used the 5 in that last race there, I mean, Nevada Beach gets home, which was nice. And then the 5 in the last, who we talked about, who you took the favorite off your ticket at even money on the back and put a 25-1 shot, who then just loses by this much to the 4 horse. They're pretty frustrating. Pretty frustrating couple of weeks here as we've been very, very close, but not been able to connect.
I'll say that 85% of the credit goes to you because you had Nevada Beach. I went with Full Serrano, who clearly is going to be better just going the mile distance. But yeah, you got a nice price on Nevada Beach. Horrible price on Full Serrano. Don't ever, if a horse isn't named Flightline, don't bet him at 1-2, folks. That's just not smart. I saw that final price on him. I was like, even if he's the most likely winner, just no, don't do that. Yeah. But hopefully we can connect. Yeah. After Parks and Santa Anita, I texted you after the show. I was like, you know what? After the Saturday results, I was like, at least next week we got an easy track with Keeneland.
We do. You have to have a shout out. I saw these tweets too. You connected big time. Was it Parks that you connected big time? It was like $6,000 for $48.
Parks on Monday when all of the totes went down. Thankfully, the pick 5 had already started. This is going to be and credit to Benny South Street for pointing this out as well. Where did you drop your pacifier? Sorry, being a dad at the moment. Baby lost her pacifier. We'll figure it out. The best paying pick 5 I've ever seen. So I'll tell you what the odds were. 11-1 final on a 5-1 morning line. I hit the all button because it was maiden 10 claiming fillies and mares. You had half the field were in their like 20s, 30s of their starts, so career maidens. 11-1 off a 5-1 morning line. And then you had a 6-5, 7-5, 8-5 in the middle. And then a 3-1 second or third shot that won the last race. The pick 4 paid pennies. Because that first race I hit the all button, it paid 6,868. It was 6,868 and a nickel, I think, was the final tally on a $48 ticket. So, yeah, I was getting lots of texts and congratulating people. That's an amazing, that ROI is incredible. And every person I responded to, thanks. Why did it pay so well? Because this should have been like, what, 1,500 maybe?
Yeah. Well, it's what happens when you don't use the favorite in the first leg of a sequence as a just a single to move along to the pick four. Mika May bringing up a good question here because this is one where if you bet sports and you play parlays, this is something where definitely hedging comes into perspective here. So when you get to the last race of a pick five, like on Mike's ticket last week, do you ever hedge? Newer to the show over the last few months, appreciate you guys. Hedging in horse racing is one of the most difficult things to do in the world.
Yes.
I think I've hedged once, and it was a very specific situation where I had 4 of the 8 runners, and 2 of the 4 were scooping a pool. You need to have such an advantage on the overall field because the problem with hedging in horse racing is that this pacifier is more elusive than Magic hitting a pick 5 on the show. Hey-o! 2 fingers in one show. Let's go. The problem with specifically, we'll talk about my ticket from last week where I think it was paying like $2,600, $2,800 to 2 horses. There's 10 other horses. So how do you hedge in horse racing? The idea of a hedge is guaranteeing profit, right? That's when you should talk about a hedge as specifically a hedge bet. There was no way to guarantee profit. I mean, you're ending up just cutting into your opinion when you're looking at a hedging perspective. So you can hedge in horse racing, but it has to be just like a 1 in 1,000 shot because it has to be a situation where you're guaranteeing whoever wins the race, you're going to win money. And last week with the ticket that I had, that wasn't possible. I mean, I'm kicking myself for not just spreading out in the last race. I mean, my ticket was $24 for 50 cents. I mean, I could have easily not stuck to my guns and used the 5 and the 4. And like all of a sudden, the 5 was paying $5,000 to that pick 5. So frustrating result, but no, it's really, really hard to hedge unless you're in a perfect spot.
I got Mrs. Magic on the scene. This is going to sound weird. She's under the table trying to find. I need to stop talking.
Whoa, man! This is we're not looking for an NC-17 show here, Magic. I don't want those bad videos coming up after our show when people are playing it on X.
I just want to say thank you, Micah, for joining us. Appreciate you coming along, and hopefully we can help you out.
What's the forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Oh. Put it down. No, okay, put it down.
Oh, is that a new necklace?
Is that a new? You didn't have the pearl necklace? Yeah, fantastic. She found it. As you see her just scooting by, she's in the background there. Even with the blurred background, you can still see her. That's all right. You happy now? We good? All right. Everybody's good. To your point, yes, it's infinitely harder in horse racing to hedge because it's not like A or B. It's A through H you can be betting on. Yeah, that's good. Anyways, this has been one hell of a start to the Magic Mike Show. Let's get into
this is about 12 minutes off the rails.
The All Stakes. Usually wait to the end of the show for this. The All Stakes Pick 5 at Keeneland, races 6 through 10 on Saturday, October 4th. Ride it up. All right. Hey, look, Mike. Look on screen. You don't see my eyeball anymore, do you? I fixed the graphic. All right. You don't have Magic's creepy right eye looking at you between our faces and the screen. The All Stakes Pick 5 on Saturday, October 4th at Keeland kicks off with the Grade 2 Woodford Stakes presented by FanDuel. And it's a 5.5 furlong turf sprint. We're going to see plenty of Breeders' Cup contenders come out of Saturday's card, including at least one, if not more, from this race. Where'd you go on top?
How is the Woodford Stakes not presented by Woodford? Like what? All right.
I would love the Woodford Stakes presented by Maker's Mark. I think
there you go.
Funny.
Little competition inside the names.
Yeah.
I thought this was actually a very odd race. World record, the number 2 scratching, going to be in today, so no world record, which obviously changes the pace from projection here. I'm going to go to the rail. Give me a Rest Me Red here, 9-2 on the morning line. Look, I kind of mentioned this yesterday, VSiN at the track with Aaron Halterman. I am looking at horses that close ground at Kentucky Downs and just kind of moving them up slightly because of how against the bias they were in that specific race. I thought Rest Me Red, first off the layoff, actually ran a sneaky good race there at Kentucky Downs, going 6 furlongs, able to cut into the distance with Bear River and Howard Wolowitz at the top, who I think are 2 very good sprinters. We'll talk about Howard Wolowitz a little bit here later. The trip wasn't great. It was a first off the layoff. Is a track that the horse has run well at, but done so when on the lead. I thought that was actually a very good effort. And you go back to the race 2 back, even the race 3 back. Those were better efforts again than they look on paper. And the speed should set up well, even without world record here for Resmi Red, who is 1-for-4 at the track, has gotten a win over this Keeneland turf course coming from off the pace. So I'll take a little bit of a shot here. Resmi Red on top at 9-2 Magic.
I went 4 deep. I definitely used this one. So with 6 runners, or I should say 7 runners in here, I'm going to put one of these 3 I don't use into the winner's circle. But I thought this was a good use. One thing that I've learned in the past from Kentucky Downs is don't necessarily take a horse coming out of a win or a strong performance. Be careful with that, what they do in their next start. But if a horse has got a super wide trip and doesn't really fire their best effort, that's when you want to pay attention. This horse, because it's not a normal track. It's not like you come off the turn and it's one straight path. It's you come off the turn and you're still kind of turning and turning and turning. So if you're 7 wide, like Resmi Red was, you're covering so much more ground than the other horses. So I thought this one was worth the use. I used the 5 Doncho on top. Just this is a pure speed play. This horse is, I know, coming out of softer spots. This is a much tougher effort than last time out in the DeHaas Stakes at Colonial, going 5.5. But you look at the pace, and it's like, well, there's not. The Euros aren't going to show it. The 5 will show it, and maybe Outlaw Kid off of that restricted stakes win at Saratoga can get the job done. But on the front end, maybe Joe Shiesty is going to have some speed, but.
Joe Shiesty will have some speed.
He didn't last time out. I'm not really sure what exactly happened. He just kind of blew the brake there in that same race where, Bear River exited and then won next out at Kentucky Downs. But I know that the 5 has speed, and if I've got 2 horses, let's say it's the 3 and 5, they both have speed. 95% of the time, I want the horse that's going to be projected to be on the outside. So if the 3 guns and beats the 5 into the turn, I think the 5 can sit right off of him and power past him. I think there's a lot left in there. And the fact that Jose Ortiz is having one of his best years ever as a jockey is going to take the mount. I thought that was a big sign as well. So I put Doncho on top.
Yeah, I have this horse in 4th. I mean, I set this up where, again, I feel like Joe Shiesty is going to go. I feel like Doncho's going to go. I think Governor Sam's going to sit right to the outside of him. And that, to me, was enough speed here to try and get around both the 5 and the 3. However, if you want to go, again, my ticket's not very expensive. I think I'm $50 here for 50 cents.
Yeah.
The 3 and the 5 would have been the next 2 horses I would have considered. I would have taken one of the 2 speed. I like the 3 because I actually like inside speed more than outside speed, and I like the price at 8-1 more than 3-1. Last time the 3 Joe Shiesty simply stuttered at the break, and that was to me the reason why, I decided I didn't want to go with or the reason why I didn't think Joe Shiesty was on lead. I think that he's going to show more speed today. Other horse I used was the horse that beat Resmi Red last time out, the 8 horse Kadeem here, 4-1 on the morning line. The races, this is interesting because a little concerned that the 2 races we have in the U.S. are both at Kentucky Downs. Now, the horse handled the track both times, but was against the bias in both of those races. Lost to Cogburn in 24. Cogburn was on an absolute heater back then and was going gate to wire against everybody. Lost to Bear River and Howard Wallowitz, who were forwardly placed last time out at Kentucky Downs. Now you're staying in the U.S. You're sprinting one more time around the flat course. I think that you're going to see a pretty good effort here from Kadeem, and I think you're getting a little bit overlooked. I like the fact that Kadeem also showed more speed early in that last race at Kentucky Downs than what we had seen prior to that. He had shown speed the prior race as well in the Group 2, the King George there that we saw. So I do think we're going to have a little bit more forwardly placed Kadeem here than what we've seen in the past. I think that is a benefit, and I think this horse fits well with this group if he is able to handle this specific distance here at Keeneland. I think he's going to be able to. So just 1-8 for me here to try and get through this race.
Yeah, the 8 this was my second choice. The fact that Frankie Dettori is going to keep the mount after Dettori had a tremendous meet at Kentucky Downs. This is the horse, by the way, don't forget, back-to-back years, 2023, 2024, won the Grade 1 Jubilee at Royal Ascot. Like, this is a damn good turf sprinter, even at age 9. I know he's missed a little zip on the fastball, but there's no Cogburn in this race, right? There's no Bear River in this race. There's no Howard Wallowitz in this race. So Yeah, I get Condemned being on. The last horse for me, because I went 4 deep, we talked about the 1, the 5, and the 8. I put the 7 on, Governor Sam. This has been a fun horse. As a 2-year-old, he almost won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Set the pace and was third in that race. I liked it last time out at Kentucky Downs. Granted, you're going a lot farther, 6.5 furlongs. But Irad decided, actually, in the last 3 starts that Irad's been aboard, Irad can win on a front runner, like newspaper of record. Irad's one of those jockeys that I swear, maybe it's an ego thing, wants to take a horse back and prove that he can beat you by passing you. Like, winning on the front end is fine, but he gets his jollies off by passing horses. And I think that with Governor Sam, you've seen that new dimension kind of later in the 3-year-old campaign to get the win in the Quick Call, a good second in the Mahoney, a good third in the Franklin Simpson, a Grade 1 event. I think the Governor Sam maybe gets a little ignored here, so I put him on the ticket as well.
Yeah, I considered Governor Sam. 3-year-old against older, only 3-year-old in the field. That was a little bit of a concern for me. And the weight break was not as much as I would have liked. Just 1 pound weight break over the rest of the 4-year-olds. I do think projects the trip. That's the one thing. Now he needs to get better, but should get that perfect trip right outside the 2 speed horses. Then the question is, can you get home? And can you also hold off everybody else who's going to be rolling here? But I don't hate the use on Governor Sam at 6-1. I honestly like Governor Sam more than Doncho. So I do think that's a little bit. I like the price and the opportunity to be able to blow this up a little bit early. I think you're going to get more than 6-1 too. I think Governor Sam floats up. I think that's one of the horses that doesn't necessarily take the money just because, like I said, you need to improve here. And again, late 3-year-old season, you could make a logical argument you're going to see a better effort from Governor Sam here, but he's going to need to take a step forward to win the race.
Race 7, the second leg of the All Stakes Pick 5 at Keeneland on Saturday, October 4th, is the Grade 2 TCA Stakes, 6 furlongs for the fillies and mares, and a Breeders' Cup trip to the Filly Mare Sprint on the line. Vava, the heavy favorite, at 7-5, and I know we're both fans of her, but how big of a fan in terms of your ticket are you?
This was tough for me because we're not going 7 furlongs today, and Vava's better at 7. Yep. And I'm sure you're going to be bringing that up here because we're going to go two roads are going to diverge in the second leg of a pick 5 here. I'm going to single Vava. I simply think Vava's the best horse here. I am worried about the 2 long neck Paula, who looks like lone speed on paper and looks very scary if that's the case. But I do think Vava able to stay close and going to be able to be in the right spot where if she's good enough, she's able to win this race. We've seen her have success at 6.5 before. This is only the second time she's ever going to run 6 furlongs, which again, that's the major concern here. But we know she loves Keeneland. She's got 1 win in 2 seconds here. She's just too classy for me not to put on top in this spot, especially because Long Neck Paul is one of those horses where she doesn't always fire. And Zelito said, who's the other main contender in this race, is coming from too far back. If I was going to go too deep, it would be 2.5. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I don't want to use the 2 favorites, especially when I have the shortest price on top. So I just singled Vava here.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. I think that once you get to it, selfishly, I hope she loses because at the Filly Mare Sprint, she's going to be a better price. If she wins this race, she's going to be too short, I think, to play in what's shaping up to be a really tough running of the Filly Mare Sprint. But 6 furlongs, I think, is kind of her undoing. She's only run it 1 time. Other than that, 7 I mean, hell, she was going 2 turns in the Pink Ribbon Stakes at Charlestown, where she has also won before. She's a really solid horse. She's a beautiful mare. And it was so nice out of the Derby City Distaff in May that she came back and won the Chicago in the manner in which she did. But it's the 6 furlong thing. And I'm going to use Long Neck Paula in here because of the speed angle for Wesley Ward. Jose Ortiz picks up the mount. And then I'm also going to use Zeitlos, the 7 horse, who is the defending champion of this race. She's 7 for 10 at 6 furlongs. She has a win in 2 seconds and 3 starts at Keeneland. So she likes the track. She obviously likes the distance and this race setup. And I'm getting Flavian Pratt to ride for the Ass Man. If Vava wins, am I going to be surprised? No, but I am taking 2 shots against favorites, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I will say this. The only race Vava went 6 furlongs was on debut. So that to me is one of those okay. And she has run 6.5 multiple times and been successful going 6.5. So in that front, I don't mind her. I don't love Zeitlos in here because it feels like you need the pace setup, and I just don't see the pace setup happening. Last year, you mentioned they won this race. They went 21-2, 44-2. I just don't see them going that fast. which makes it a little more difficult for me to like her. I do like Praying a little bit, the 6 horse. So sitting at 12-1. I thought that effort last time out was really good off the layoff. And the fact that Robert Medina decided off of what was really a bad effort 2 back to jump the horse up into a graded stakes at Saratoga and then get that effort, and Johnny V signs on here. 12-1 is a live horse there in the number 6 Praying.
Yeah, especially if the 2 stubs her toe, or I mean the fact that simply the 6 beat the 2 on the square last out of Saratoga. Now, as far as because I went back and forth about almost singling Zeitlos because she was the top play for me, but Long Neck Paula has the speed advantage, but also if you ignore the Saratoga races, she's had 3 starts at Saratoga, and you ignore the 1 try on synthetic, she's got 3 wins and a second. Like, she's very solid when she just doesn't go to Saratoga, and it can be a track that some horses don't love, and it's also very tough to win at Saratoga. It doesn't matter the level. So we're back in Wesley Ward's hometown, which is Keeneland, where he has all of his horses in Lexington. So I'll roll with her. But I think these are the 3 kind of likely wins. I think that using Zeitlos was I didn't trust Long Neck Paula off of that dull effort last time out. If there's enough pace pressure, like say even from the 6, maybe from the 4, Vodka with a Twist who's shown speed. I think that Zeitlos might get the pace set up there, but I also like the Prats aboard because he's very heady. He'll read the pace kind of in the race. Like, he can make a mid-race adjustment as well as any jockey. So I think that maybe that's going to help with Zeitlos as well.
Yeah, look, I respect the heck out of Zeitlos, and obviously Prat aboard's a good thing. I don't think this materializes to the point where Zeitlos is able to come running and Vava doesn't, right? Because like Vava's going to be in front of Zeitlos. And if we have a setup here where there's not a crazy pace, that means Vava is closer to it. And I don't see the world where Vava gets by and then gets caught, right? And that's how Zeitlos probably has to win if this is not a very fast pace.
All right, the appetizers are over. It's time for 3 straight Grade 1 events at Keeneland on Saturday, October 4th, beginning of race number 8, the First Lady Stakes, going a mile on the turf course. This is the best race I've seen at Keeneland in a long time because you have an overdrawn field with 4 also eligibles trying to get into this event. No world beaters. You look at the morning line. Dynamic pricing is your morning line favorite at 4-1 from the horses even in. The 13 Special One is actually your favorite at 7-2. A lot to unpack in this race, Mike. Where'd you go on top?
Man, I went back and forth on this one. We're going to take some shots here. I actually went 5 deep in this race as well as the last race, the 2 more competitive turf races. And I just couldn't get around to Zara, who's the number 10 horse here, 6-1 on the morning line for Miguel Clement. And, you know, I remember when the De La Rose ran at Saratoga, there were 2 divisions of it. And you kind of came back into the Boston spot. And you're like, well, I wonder which division was better. Ozara looked dominant in the Boston spot.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked awesome. Go back and watch that race. She never looked like a loser. Absolutely exploded on the way home. And I can't get that race out of my mind, especially with what I think is going to be a decent setup for her in this spot. So number 10, Ozara on top for me at 6-1.
Yeah, I think it's worth the use. I didn't put her on top, but I think that you and I are not going to be the only ones rooting for some scratches. Those 4 AEs they want to draw in. Some scratches will help her because that 10 post it's not ideal. It could be worse, and I think it will possibly get better. You never know who will end up scratching on race day. Maybe there's a couple horses in here that the connections went, oh shit, we thought this was going to be, a good spot to take a stab at Grade 1 placing, and all of a sudden it got really tough. So yeah, we agree there. I went 3 deep. We agreed on the same 3 horses that I used. So I'll go. My top pick is actually on the rail. Choicia for Simon Christopher. She's got a win going a mile on the 16th here in the Jenny Wiley Stakes in April as a Grade 1 event. That was her 3rd straight win. She won back-to-back races at Maidan to start 2025, then came to Keeland, a very tough race, and ended up picking up a win in the Jenny Wiley. Now, out of that, she went to Saratoga. What did I just say in the TCA Stakes about the Wesley Ward runner? Horses just don't love Saratoga. Also, very tough meet. And if you look at Choicia's races, she fires fresh early, and then as she races, she kind of has a tendency to slip off a little bit. I think that maybe 3 straight races in a short time, all very competitive Grade 1 events, maybe just undid her a little bit there. But now Frankie Dettori gets aboard. She's had freshening. She'll be off almost 3 months coming into this. I think she's going to fire a huge effort there. And again, the fact that she's run well at Keeneland from an inside draw, gave me a lot of faith in Choicia.
Yeah, the Keeneland part was a big one for me. The fact that I don't think she's going to be on the lead is important. I think you're going to get a little bit better of a stalking trip, saving ground, and being able to pounce, just like that Jenny Wiley race. The Diana, I thought she just kind of was in, not over her skis, but with the way the race set up, I think it was just really tough. Excellent Truth, a horse that I've liked for a long time, able to get the job done there in the Grade 1 Diana. She feels pretty, runs second. Dynamic Pricing runs third. We'll talk about Dynamic Pricing in a second here. But Choice, I just, to me, it makes sense, especially when you circle that Keeneland race, 3 back and the first out.
Mm-hmm.
It clearly likes the track, likes the post position, should be set up for a good trip. Made a ton of sense here at 9-2.
The other one we agreed on is the 5-horse Dynamic Pricing. We can go there. The 4-1 morning line favorite for the current field. The 13 draws in, she'll be the new favorite. But Dynamic Pricing, I kind of wanted to pass on because I was trying to make a case for it. And I just kept coming back to her and going, you know what? She fits. And it's not a knock on Dylan Davis. I mean, she won on a yielding turf, a Grade 1 at Saratoga. She was third in the Diana, but that was going a mile and an eighth. You look at her best races, she's 2 for 3 at a mile. I think that beyond a mile, you're asking a little too much. I think I might have wanted to see a bigger margin of victory in the 150,000 listed stakes, the Perfect Sting. But she has consistently also been overlooked since Dylan Davis has been on her. She was 10-1. Hey, good job, Aaron. We'll give him
Good
a
job
shout
by
out
you,
there.
Aaron.
Good value pick at Keeland, just won race number 2. But Dynamic Pricing, since Dylan's been aboard, has never been fair. She was a Grade 1 winner at Saratoga in June. You fast forward to August in a listed stakes race, and she was not the favorite in that. That is a lot of disrespect for a very talented filly. So I'll put her on the ticket as well. I didn't want to get knocked out because Dynamic Pricing won. I'm like, well, she's a Grade 1 winner. Of course she won this race.
Yeah, look, I was going to not use Dynamic Pricing, and it's the mile thing that really dialed it back in for me. 2 for 3 at the distance with a third as well. The race 2 back at Saratoga and the Just a Game was awesome. 1 at 10-1 that day. The other, Chad Brown, able to beat Excellent Truth, comes back in the Perfect Sting and able to win there. And what was, I think, second to last weekend there at Saratoga as a favorite, but looked really good. Was able to close a ton of ground late. I actually thought she was in trouble in that race because she was so far back and just was flying to be able to close it out. So I decided I'm gonna use the 5 Dynamic Pricing here, but I am going to take a couple shots at bigger numbers. We're going to start with Nanda Dia here, the 3-horse Nacho Correas. I know you love this guy right here, and he loves England, and this horse loves winning. And the combination of those 3 things, as well as the 15-1 morning line price, kind of jumped out to me. One of the horses that has more speed in this race than a lot of the others, so I do think you're going to see Nanda Dia to be forwardly placed in this spot. Draws well in the 3-hole. We've seen this horse can fire off the layoff and be able to win at Keeneland. Did so back on October 17th, 2024. So got to win over the course. Distance, I don't think any type of an issue. Is won in a mile many times there over in Argentina before coming over and running in a mile and 16th. Both of those races came from close off the pace, able to get up. Jose Ortiz rides back. Got a bullet workout in the last one. Has been working well prior to that as well. Got some good foundation works going 5 and 6 furlongs before the fast 4 furlong works. This is everything that I'm looking for in a horse that I think can step up and win at a price. So we'll go with the number 3, Nanda Dia at 15-1, and then I will go with the number 7, Here Dia. So the Dias for me at 15-1 as well. It's a horse that was like the way Graham Motion has handled this horse. I thought has been very interesting. So doesn't run in 2024, ships over to the U.S., jumps into a Grade 3, the Begay over at Backwadock, runs a good third, coming from off the pace. It kind of just flattened out toward the end. It looked like a horse that hadn't run in a year, right? Comes back at Saratoga, runs the De La Rose, the other division of it, ends up running third, but didn't break well in that race. Then ships out to the Yellow Ribbon, which is something we don't see Motion do very often. Wins for fun out in the Yellow Ribbon in Grade 2. Ships back here to come into Grade 1 competition. Tells you what Motion thinks of this horse to be shipping cross country and then deciding, hey, after a nice Grade 2 win, we're going to ship to Keeneland and take on Grade 1 company. I think this horse is ready to roll here. I love the price at 15-1. Did you consider the 3 or the 7 at all, Magic?
Definitely the 3. It hurt me to leave the 3 off. If there are some scratches, I think the 3 is going to make my ticket here. The Beyer speed figures, the time form rating, leave some to be desired, but she also, we talked about it before. Yeah, I hear you down there. The Grade 1 races are, I think, graded stakes. You're going to see inflated Beyers. You can finish 5th, beaten 20 lengths, and have a career best Beyer because you were just in against tougher competition. So it was hard for me to leave the 3 off. I think she's a good long shot to hit the board. The 7 was another one where I was like, I would have wanted to see more from her in the yellow ribbon. Now, I know that wasn't her preferred running style. She's not a front runner. She just kind of inherited it because they went New York fractions. They went 25, 49, and 3. Like, they went slow, and then she had enough left to kick on. So I think that she's a good underneath play. I think you're getting a nice price on here at 15-1. The same for the 3 Nandadia.
Yeah, and that's the key thing here. Like, we do have some favorites and some other legs. I wanted to go price shopping. I think this in the last race, the 2 most logical ones you can find price. So we'll take a little bit of a shot here, see if we can get either the 3 or 7 home to balloon up the prices for us in this all stakes pick 5.
Evan brings up a good question I was going to mention. If the 13 draws in or any of the 4 also eligibles draw in, are there any that, assuming you lose a horse, is there one that you want to add from the AEs?
Man, this is tough because I think the 13 and 14 are both live. It would depend who scratches. 13. So if the 13's in, I'm probably taking the 5 out because of the pricing here, where I don't want to have all of the favorites. If I'm going 5 deep, especially, I want to keep the longer shots in. So I would take out the 5 and insert the 13 if the 13 comes in, because I do prefer the 13 over the 5. The 14 is the one that I actually think is more difficult, because the 14 ran second to my top pick a couple last race, actually, and I thought ran well in the De La Rose, and I'm using Hadira, who ran third in that race, and this is the winner of that one. Also has tactical speed. A little worried about the post on the 14, because this is a tough spot for a horse that wants to be forward. So you're probably wide on both turns, which is my biggest concern. So the 13 would replace the 5 for me if the 13 is in, and the 14, if I lose another horse, is definitely on the ticket. And if I don't, probably gets left off because of the post position. But it's very, very close. If you want to just add the 14 too, I think that would make my ticket $60 instead of $50. So I don't hate that option either.
Yeah, the 13 is the one I was looking at. Just looking at the overnights. Most tracks will tell you who the jockey, if they're entered on multiple horses, who their preference is for. And I can tell you that if the 13 draws in, Johnny V's ditching the 2. He's leaving Todd Pletcher to ride the 13. That's a big sign. And then the 14 deep satin, same thing. If the 14 draws in, Luan Machado jumps aboard, and he's going to leave the 6, Simmering, who's a shipper coming in. Neither of us using Flavian Pratt on a Chad Brown horse, the 9, Segesta, which was a big shock to someone. I just missed the comment. Yeah, Penn State Scott. You don't like the 9? No, neither of us using the 9. I don't like how she's been campaigned. It's been the very antithetical Chad Brown campaign. Lots of Monmouth races, Kentucky Downs races. Those aren't spots where he's targeting with his best horses.
Segesta, Fiesta. Isn't that like a song? Am I making that up? No. I think it's a song. Anyway.
Yeah, you're close. It's the it's All Night Long.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, Segesta is a little interesting just because of speed. I think that the 9 may inherit the lead here. If that's the choice that Pratt wants to make, I wouldn't be shocked if he makes that decision. I kind of look through the trip and I'm like, okay, how are we going to win this race? And I just don't know how you're going to win this race. I thought the last race was good, but it was a Kentucky Downs race. So you're like, I don't know really what to do with that. The race before it at Monmouth was a 1 1/8. I thought that was much better than the mile just a game that we saw from this horse. So I go back and I'm like, okay, well, what are the better races in the back? Well, it's the Belmont Oaks, the Wander Again. It's all races that are over a mile. And that's kind of why I ended up leaving Segesta off here, because if we were going 1 1/8, I'd probably include this horse. But the mile distance for me was the main issue here.
All right, let's move on to the 4th leg, penultimate leg of the late pick 5 at Keeneland on Saturday, October 14th. The Grade 1 Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, amount of 16th for the 2-year-olds, and a race that's not only a Breeders' Cup Juvenile win and you're in, but if you look at the recent list of winners of this race, it is a murderer's row of future stars. So all that to say, there's a lot of pressure riding on the 6 horse, Ted Noffey, who is named for Ned Toffee, who runs Spendthrift Farm. Oh boy, somebody's going to be a big star out of here. I went back and forth so many times. Where'd you go on top?
I went with the 6 on top.
Okay.
Not going to be too creative here. The closing fractions from that last race were just dynamic, and that's what I couldn't get around. Like the stretch of the hopeful. this just looks like a horse that's going to have absolutely no problem stretching out into Mischief the sire. So you would assume that the distance not going to be an issue here. I just was really impressed with that hopeful. And like I look at like Ewing, who I thought really struggled in the Saratoga Special, specifically coming down the stretch. You look at like Big Dom, who I think has a chance to win, and we'll talk about in a second here, and a little interested there, but I'm not sure what the pace setup's going to look like for him. You look at Blackout Time, probably one that wants to go to the lead. Not sure if this horse is fast enough, but I do think it's a little interesting. I just kept going back to Ted Noffi here, so I'm going to go with a 6 on top at 4-5.
This is maybe a really stupid move on my part. I'm gonna take a shot against Ted Noffi. You can't say enough nice things about how strong he was with those wins at Saratoga, but he also wasn't favored in either of those, and now he's going to be a huge favorite. He's 4-5 morning line. So many people, I think, in this sequence will just single him and try to go deeper in some of the tougher legs that are on turf.
Mm-hmm.
He's bred to do exactly this. That buy into Mischief. He's the dam. 5 of her 6 wins were routing. They were on turf, but I don't care so much about the surface. I care that that's a horse that will likely want 2 turns. I do somewhat question the quality of the Grade 1 hopeful this year. Yes, he beat them by 8.5 lengths, but Butane was not Bob Baffert's best, and Bob Baffert doesn't send his best horses to Saratoga for Grade 1s, to Keeneland for Grade 1s. Looking at you, litmus test. That's kind of where he's got so many horses. He's like, hey, you go here, maybe we'll get lucky or something like that. So Ted Noffi can absolutely win this race and win in a big way. I am going to take a shot starting with the horse that you are also using because you're going too deep in here. Number 2, Big Dom. This is a horse that at Saratoga, 6 furlongs, I thought was just getting going. He's by McKinsey, who's had multiple Grade 1 winners, including Baeza in the Pennsylvania Derby a couple weeks ago. But out of a pulpit mare who I think will give him plenty of route production. There's a Grade 3 mile and a quarter British Columbia Derby winner. It was a Century Mile. So it was a route race, but it was Century Miles. And how good was that race? But the point is, there's a lot of stamina there. I also mentioned the Murderer's Row of winners for this race. If you look back at the last 6 winners of this, so Maxfield, Essential Quality, Rattle and Roll, Forte, Locked, East Avenue, 5 of them were exiting a maiden special weight win. This is a race where you're like, this is tough, this is so hard. 5 of the last 6 winners exited a maiden special weight winner. Forte was the only one that won a Great Stakes before that. And if you remember, 2022 was that epic battle throughout the whole stretch between Forte and the recent maiden winner, Loggins. Now, Loggins never raced again, but Loggins nearly won this race to make it 6 for 6 for maiden special weight into a Grade 1. So all that to say, I am not super concerned with the horse stepping up off of a maiden special weight score into a tough spot. Now, every year is different, but I think that Big Dom and the way that the summer that Tom Amos has had with his 2-year-olds, I think that this is a horse that is definitely on the improve.
Yeah, look, when you're looking at 2-year-olds, the maiden special weight to Grade Stakes thing is not a thing for me. I don't care. You could it's a jump in class, but the maiden special weight level of the 2-year-old to Grade 1 and 2-year-old, there's not nearly as big of a jump as if you went from a 4-year-old maiden special weight to a Grade 1 for older horses, right? It's just you have so much improvement from start 1 to start 2 to start 3 with some of these horses that you can take leaps forward, not steps forward, which allow horses to compete after you'd expect them not to be able to. And honestly, look, Ted Noffi took a leap forward in that second race, right? Are we going to be able to repeat that? Are we going to improve off that? That is a very, very realistic question, and the price is not great here. I thought Big Dom was the best of the rest. I mentioned I'm kind of against Ewing here. I really wasn't impressed with the Saratoga Special. The debut was awesome, but that Saratoga Special looked like, first off, Ewing and Ted Noffi ran on the same day, and Ted Noffi was almost a full second faster than Ewing in that going 6.5 furlongs on debut than Ewing's second race out. Big Dom, I thought, was awesome in that Saratoga race. I saw the same thing you did. I saw a horse that had a ton of speed that was just kind of figuring things out as we got to that 6 furlong point, which means that stretching out is going to be something that Big Dom should be able to do very well here. So I did go 7 or 6-2 here. The one was the horse that I went back and forth on. I think Blackout Time could win this race. I think Blackout Time has to get the lead to do so, and that to me is the biggest concern. I'm not sure he is the fastest horse in this spot, and well, he did take a step forward first to second start. the water gets a lot deeper. And we just talked about being able to win a maiden special weight to win a graded stakes. Winning a maiden special weight at Ellis is very different than winning a maiden special weight at Saratoga. Doing it on debut is different than doing it second time out. So there are certain things that kind of move me a little away from blackout time. If I went 3 deep, it would be blackout time. If you want to go 6-1, I don't hate that idea, because then you're getting a 10-1 in with the 4-5. So the 6 was the clear top pick for me, 2 second. And then the blackout time, I kind of went back and forth on. I'll probably end up playing a try, 6 over 2-1, 2-1, and then 6-2-1 cold, see if I can get some value there with getting the 7 out of it. But I think Ted Noffey's going to be tough here.
Well, I went 2-1. We both agreed on blackout time. Now, his debut race at Churchill Downs, he ran into a horse that is sadly no longer with us, but Dazzle D'Oro was the ultimate hype horse out of that win at Churchill Downs. It was an 11-horse field. Blackout time was 7 1/4 lengths clear of second. So without Dazzle D'Oro, he breaks his maiden by 7 1/4 lengths. And then suddenly we're talking, holy shit, this is a really good horse. Out of that, yes, he was the 36-cent favorite, but he beat them by almost 10 lengths in that spot. Not only Rob White were second and third, but run back and win. 5th and 10th came back to win as well. And the trip notes I had, because I was on the FanDuel desk when blackout time won, I immediately put in trip notes, dominated like a horse with a big future. So when I was handicapping this race, I saw my trip notes. I went, oh, that's right. He did win very impressively. When I was listing off the last 6 years winners of this race, Rattle and Roll was one of them. That was a Kenny McPeak long shot at 8-1 that surprised a lot of people. And as far as the pedigree, this is a horse that's bred to run all day. Yes, he's by not this time, but the dam, her 4 wins came, the shortest she won at was a mile. She won a 1.5-mile race on the turf, the grade 3 Orchid, for Christophe Clement. So this is a horse who is absolutely bred to run all day long. Now, is he as fast early as some of these horses like Ewing or maybe even Ted Noffey? I don't think so. But I think that he'll get a good stalking trip on the rail. And the fact that he was able to advance so well in that debut at Churchill, despite having Dazzle D'Oro just running a hole through the wind next time out, I thought was pretty impressive for him. So I'm 2-1 taking, again, I fully acknowledge Ted Noffey can win this race, won't surprise me. I'm taking a couple swings, hoping that maybe Ted Noffey regresses a little bit off of his last effort.
Yeah, breeding on blackout time too. Not this time, a horse that we've talked about ad nauseum on this podcast with how much we like that. The Not This Time as a sire, and you can see it based on the stud fee up to $175,000 now. And essential quality horse that's won this race on the bottom as well. So bred to very much handle this distance too. So I think blackout. Which trip? Penn State, Scott. Which trip?
The answer is yes. Doesn't matter which trip you take, but yes, the answer is yes.
So yeah, look, I wouldn't be shocked if blackout. Well, I would be surprised if blackout time won. I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised. I do think that Ted Noffey is going to be tough here, and I like Big Dom more than blackout time. But to me, it's those 3. It's not Litmus Test, who Baffert's sending out here with Pratt. It's not Spice Runner. Sorry, chat. Sorry, Star Wars fans, for Asmussen. It's not Ewing, who I think is going to take some play here for Cassie. I think it's the 1-2-6.
Can I? This is the game I wanted to play. Because you named every other horse in here. Can you say the name of the 3 horse for me?
Di Cassette.
You're not far off. It's Di Cassette. It's Italian. It's Italian for 17. And I know that because if you go back and listen to the call, Pete Isla, one of my favorite calls he's ever had, when the horse won. It's Italian for 17, and the horse won by a slim margin, but won nonetheless. Pete Isla goes, Di Cassette wins by about 17 inches. And I immediately texted him. I was like, that was
well played.
Like 1% maybe of your audience caught that, but I want you to know I caught that, and I thought it was fantastic. He appreciated that. The 10th and final race. No, wait, it's not. Race 11's after this. But the last race of the Pick 5 all-stakes sequence at Keeneland on Saturday, October 4th. The Grade 1 Coolmore Turf Mile Stakes at Breeders' Cup Winning for the FanDuel Mile is on the line. And boy, just like the First Lady, Mike, the Euros showed up. The Americans showed up. A great race. Where'd you go on top?
I went with the favorite. I'm going to spread, but I did go with the 4 Diego Velasquez on top. Let's take a canter down memory lane. Just back to the Breeders' Cup last year when this horse was supposed to run, and we all loved him. He's gotten better since last year.
Hurt when he didn't run too.
Oh, This was a single for me last year in the Breeders' Cup, and like I said, the last 2 races are just awesome. First off the layoff in the Queen Anne, little to be desired. Comes back and goes back to back in Group 2, Group 1 races in tough spots over there in Europe, including winning or beating Notable Speech last time out. He came back to win in a Group 1. I wish it wasn't the Tory. I wish it was more, but we can't have what we want all the time. So I have the 4 on top here. The 4 is going to get bet off the board, right? Like 7-2 is an absolute pipe dream here.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, you can't have Ryan Moore because he's got a broken leg and he's going to be out until probably 2026. I was reading about
Ryan Moore over Dettori.
Ryan Moore, the broken leg over Frankie Dettori. Listen, Ryan Moore was just a quick segue. He didn't fall off a horse or something and get hurt. It just was over time. They realized this pain in his leg. They did an injury report and went, like an X-ray. He's got a broken leg, and they figured out like it's something that happened months prior. And because he's a daily runner, he just was making that fracture a little worse. So that's
he couldn't hold out. He couldn't hold out for till the Breeders' Cup and then do it.
Boy, he had, and it was one of those things where like the timing with all of the Grade 1, the Group 1 classics all coming up in Europe, and Aiden's like, my number 1 guy. Where do I go? So this is
our favorite horse race influencer, Griffin Johnson, saying Ewing is going to be scratched tomorrow.
Damn,
which kind of sucks.
That's from a price perspective. That really sucks. All of our horses are going to get bet down.
Yeah,
I mean, Ted Noffey's going to be such a slam dunk single for so many people now.
Yeah, that kind of makes me rethink wanting to not go 6. It's funny because like my immediate reaction is maybe I should just go 6-1, like not like because now I'm going to have the 2 favorites, and we talk about this all the time. So I'm going to switch my ticket to 6-1. If Ted Noffey's out there structure wise, I don't want to have the 2 of them. So I'm going to make a change to that last race. I'll go 1-6 in the pick 5. Congratulations, Big Dom. Just gave you the winner's circle there.
As far as this, I went 3 deep in here. Second choice for me is the 5 Wood Shauna. This is a horse that had back-to-back wins in France, including the Group 1 race, and then went to a bigger, tougher Group 1 first time facing Olders, and in a field of 11, finished a really nice 3rd, came running late. Lazat, the winner of that, is a multiple, I think it's like 3 or 4 Group 1 race winner, and he was 2nd, and that's how good that race was. I know he's never gone a mile, but how often do we see this with specifically mile events in America, where the Euros come in with like 6.5, 7 furlong efforts, and then all of a sudden they can hit a mile and look amazing in America? So I'm going to put the 5 on here. Gaffleone, an interesting move, but he is, of course, one of the best jockeys in America, especially in the Kentucky circuit. And he, especially with the 4 being so heavily bet in here, I think there's a lot of upside still on the 5 Wood Shauna.
Yeah, the 5's interesting. The pace should come from way off it, which I think is going to be interesting going a mile on the U.S. turf as well, because this is a horse that was lagging toward the rear in most fields when we were over in Europe. So the idea that you're going to be able to close 8 to 10 lengths, I'm a little concerned about. That was my one big knock on the 5, and the price. I think this is the other European that's going to get bet, and not necessarily the other European that I think is awesome. I'm going to go to number 12. 12-1 here. John Quill. The other European that's coming in here, last time out won a race at a mile, was forwardly placed during that race. That was a Group 2. I am going to point back to the race at Longchamp on May 11th. Group 1 race, ran 2nd to Henry Matisse. It's a very good horse, and missed by a neck. I think that there's a ton of talent with the 12 here. I think it's an interesting spot. Don't love the post. Do love the price. I'm getting 15-1 on a horse that I think has been facing better over in Europe, and now gets has been facing very good horses over in Europe, and now ships in at a big number. So 12 here, the second horse on my ticket.
Yeah, I went 3 deep. This was the last one. That post, it's a rough one, but because it's Dylan Davis, I think a lot of people are going to just discount this. But Andrew Balding is 2 for 3 shipping to the U.S. So he doesn't ship here often, but when he does, it's very much with intent, and it would not be shocking to see a Euro win this. So of course, I'm going to use the 12. So just 4, 5, 12 for me. Did you go any deeper than that?
Oh, I did. First off, Penn State Scott asking a rhetorical question. Tell me you're using the 9. I am using the 9. Give me the number 9, Rhetorical here, 8-1 on the morning line. Irad Ortiz steps aboard for William Walden. William Walden, one of those trainers that I enjoy betting. You know why? He's 25% so far this year with 135 starts and still does not get bet like he's 25%. Now, this horse has gotten bet like it's 25%. Been a sub-even money favorite all the last 4 races, won the last 3 races. The knock on the 9 here is it's a New York State bred horse. You know who else is a New York State bred horse?
Spirit of St. Louis.
Yeah, you are correct, my friend. And that horse has won some pretty big races this year, if I remember
correctly.
The price is going to be there because of the fact that this was state bred competition, obviously stepping up here. But I thought this horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. Got significantly better in the West Point, beat Open Company the race before that, has tactical speed, gets IRAD here. All systems go here on the 9 Rhetorical. I used the 8 Program Trading, who I thought came back and ran really well for a first off a year layoff in the Bernard Baruch. Donegal Momentum beat him that day, but Donegal Momentum got everything his own way. If you look back, when Donegal Momentum gets a soft lead, it is very hard to run that horse down. He got a soft lead in the Bernard Baruch. So I'm going to use the 9 Donegal Momentum as well. And then last horse on my ticket was the number 10, Brilliant Birdie. Look, we know I like Cherie. I like it when Jose Ortiz rides it through horses, especially. This was just one of those horses that likes the course, is a win over it, came from off the pace doing so, 4 for 6 at the distance, second off the layoff, second out and late in the 4-year-old season. Just a bunch of reasons why I think this horse can step forward. Has been working well at Keeneland, likes the track, and the price is right at 8-1 as well, and what I think is a pretty wide open event. So 4, I think, is the best horse, and I am scared wins at a short price. But I'm still going to spread around here, go 8, 9, 10, 12 to see if we can get a price home to end this all-stakes pick 5.
Quick note on William Walden. We're both huge fans of betting him, and you can usually catch him at a price. I know it has been the case in Rhetorical, has been favored in all 5 career starts to date. But I looked through Formulator on DRF, 25%. I was like, he's usually, like, not always, but you can usually get him at a price. What's his ROI? He is the very rare trainer with a 25% win rate that has a positive ROI. Now, I think it's $2.01 or $2.05, but fuck, dude, you're getting you're getting plus money flat betting William Walden, and he is one of those reasons, Mike, is he spots his horses perfectly. He does not take any unnecessary swings. He is the 4th horse for me, the 9 Rhetorical. If I lose one of the 3 horses in here, Rhetorical is going on, because I respect the hell out of him, and the fact that Irad is here when he could have options. You know, he was on the 3 Howard Wallowitz last time out, who I think is a speed factor, not a win factor.
Yeah, let's rip through some William Walden stats real quick. With IRAD at Keeneland, 50%, $4.54 ROI. Overall, 42%, $5 or $2.53 ROI. His only negative ROI on the page is 30 to 60 days, 22%, $1.84. One last start, 267 on turf, 283 routes, 218. Graded stakes, $3.50, 57 ROI. Pretty darn good there. From is that good, Magic? No, that's a rhetorical question.
Oh, that was a good joke. I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm not gonna call that a dad joke. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Will Walden. There's Will Walden. There's Miguel Clemano. Obviously, he inherited good horses, but has kept them going strong, which is not easy to do. Riley Mott, Nolan Ramsey, like 4 young male trainers that are like descended from horse racing royalty that are continuing to keep the next generation going. So great to see that. Big supporters of them. Just if I don't have the 9 on the ticket, I hope you finish 2nd.
Scott post. I don't have that off the top of my head. Probably. It depends. At Keeneland, it depends drastically on the distance too, because it makes a very big difference if you're sprinting going 1 turn, if you're going 2 turns, a mile, 16th, the mile, all that jazz. So I don't have the percentages off the top of my head.
And unfortunately, Scott, Formulator, as soon as you start a new meet, they erase all the statistics from before. So,
because why would that be helpful?
Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining us here to talk about Keeneland's all-stakes pick 5 races 6 through 10 on Saturday, October 4th. It's a doozy. Some amazing stars, as you would expect for it being Keeneland on Saturday. We'll read off our tickets one last time for the people who are watching or listening. We'll read them out for you. By the way, real quick before I do this, shout out to Rob White. I can't find the message in here. I thought that this was something fun to try, which is putting, if you're watching, the comments in just underneath like Mike's left shoulder there. You see, and Rob mentioned it was really annoying and hard to listen to us. Perfect feedback. Thank you for that. So we'll make sure we take that off. You trying to get on screen? You're both on screen right now. Yeah. Had to go to mom for a second. The little ginger baby. But we'll read off our tickets one last time. I'm going to go to start things off. I'm going to go 1-5-7-8 with 2-7 with 1-5-10 with 1-2 with 4-5-12, and that is $72. If I could go ahead and write that in very quickly here. Mr. Somich, what's your pick 5?
50-cent ticket, pretty cheap this week. We're only going $50 here. 1-8 with 5, with 1-3, 5, 7, 10, with 1-6, with 4, 8, 9, 10, 12, $50 for 50 cents.
Awesome.
Move your head over this way again, Magic.
What?
Oh, wait, a little less. No, a little more. What is that behind your ear? Is that like a scorpion?
Oh no, that's like a little like toy magnet. Like the hands are magnets. It's something that's my wife's dresser. I don't.
Interesting. Yeah, I
not a scorpion. It does kind of look like that though, right? It's kind of
especially like because it looks like the little claws when like it's partially blurred out. Anyway,
it's almost a little earring. Right
oh, there you go.
Anyways, boy, we've been off the rails to start and finish. I'll be on FanDuel 3 to 6 Pacific, kind of covering the afternoon racing at Santa Anita. Nothing too exciting for me. What about you on VSiN?
VSiN, we got Sharp Money. If you're looking for football bets, make sure you check out Sharp Money. That's wherever you get your podcasts, be it Apple, Spotify. So that runs down the board every Thursday, gives you new lines every Monday. So make sure you check out Sharp Money there. And then we'll have the contest show from 6 to 7 Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern on VSiN, where we'll find out how many people got eliminated by the Rams last night in Circa Survivor. And finally, Ready, Set, Bet, 3 to 6 Pacific, 6 to 9 Eastern on Saturday, and 1 to 4 Pacific, 4 to 7 Eastern on Sunday on VSiN and channel 158 on SiriusXM Radio.
You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He's at SummerBomb18, number 1, number 8, Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Check out Blinkers Off, covering all of the major races happening this weekend across the country. Until next time, I'm Magic.
And go Canes.
Good luck this weekend, everybody. If I can hit
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.